Hello guys, it is Ital Sunny, and a long while ago I made some Deltarune fan art. But the thing is that, well, it's pretty bad. Ralsei looks nothing like his original design, in fact I would say that it's a downgrade, and Chris looks fine, but next to the goofy interpretation of Ralsei, he looks a bit weird. So I just decided to start from scratch and make an entirely new fan art for Deltarune. And thus I started to record a speed paint. Although this did initially start out as just a Javel fan piece, I did decide that I wanted to include other characters, and so I chose Chris, Birdly, Susie, and Rousey. But then I thought it would be cool if there was like a half and half dynamic, between the upper world and the underworld. I know that's not what they're officially called, but that's just the words I can think of at the moment. One thing that I knew is that I didn't want to draw Noelle because both of her designs gave me issues, but I knew that I had to include Rousey and Chris because of the original fan art, even if I did start out just drawing Jevil. But speaking of Jevil, I just made him smiling doing his evil little gesture thing in the corner. Rousey is pretty chill. I did have a little bit of conflict deciding if both of their scarves would be flowy or if just one. I decided that the one would be Rousey just because I wanted him to have a little bit more visual interest since, Chris already had a ton just being in the middle. And then for Susie and Birdly, you can find them in both the overworld and the dark world, so I decided that, since Rousey and Jevil can only be found in the dark world, it would make sense to have them there instead of, Susie and Birdly who are with you practically all the time. And of course, Birdly is sleeping on a desk, which is, kind of spoilers for Chapter 2, but I'm not going to say much about it. And I would initially like to have Suji to, be crushing some chalk or eating it, but I decided that it wasn't worth the hassle, and I just gave her a fistful of rage instead. Another thing I decided is I didn't want to do too much hard shading because it would be very meticulous considering how many characters there are, so I just went with an overall color gradient and a bunch of blending layers to get that effect that I wanted. Mainly that kind of duality between both the light world and the dark world. But also I just wanted it to be very dramatic and pretty and colorful. So after I got done getting the colors that I really liked, I decided to go to a Photoshop filter, well, not real Photoshop, that's too expensive, but a photo app filter and blur my piece a lot, and then I would put that blurred piece over my actual piece and then use soft light just to see if it would look cool, because I heard from a certain YouTuber that it makes his drawings look more complete, and honestly, I agree with him. It looked pretty cool, and then I fumbled a lot more around with filters and kept on fumbling and fumbling until I got exactly what I wanted, and it ended up being pretty cool. But of course, at the end of it, I had to add a little bit of emboss because I love having those sharp, sharp lines. Even if they look a little bit pixely and kind of low quality to some, I like it a lot. I have nothing else to say about this drawing specifically until we get to the end of the speed paint, of which we have a lot longer to go. So I'm gonna start talking about other things now, okay? But firstly, I would like to talk about this little comic me and my friend have made. Now you're wondering, what does this have to do with Deltarune? Everything, because most of the cast in this comic are Deltarune characters. Me and my friend just decided it would be fun if we, put a universe together with all of our favorite characters in it and just made up our own silly, goofy stories about them interacting, and it's been very fun so far. In fact, it's made me consider being a comic book artist, but I know that it's not as delightful as it is now because when I'm making comics with my friend, it's just us, doing improv ideas and silly, stupid stuff, and we don't have any deadlines. But as an actual comic book artist, you probably have a lot of stress put on you, and you have to do things in a very limited amount of time, especially if it's a weekly or monthly comic issue. So I'm aware that my situation is kind of just fun and not professional in any way, but I still think Deltarune and the comic I've been working with that has Deltarune characters in it has helped me with my creativity and art process a lot. Even if you guys don't really get to see that stuff, it's really just an inside joke between me and my friend, and I don't plan on posting it, but it still means a lot to me. So, yeah, Deltarune, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and Delightful in Lavender Town can all be credited to big inspirations for my art process. Oh yeah, and since I'm already making a Deltarune-themed video, I'm going to talk about my favorite characters, which I think would be Ralsei, Lancer, and Rules Card, just because they're pretty funny. Ralsei is wholesome and cute, Lancer is also pretty wholesome and adorable, but he's a lot more rambunctious and random, so I love his humor. And Rule's card is absolutely amazing. Like, his accents, his words. Such a funny guy. Such funny. In case the speed paints didn't work, I also took screenshots of my progress as well, and here they are. The first one is the line art, of course. Then I did the background and flat coloring, just pretty simple stuff. Then I messed around with some gradients, trying to see if the shading or lighting would look good. This is one of the versions, and I think that I still improved it from here, but that's besides the point. Here's the blurred version of the picture I was talking about earlier that I used as like an overlay to make my drawing look even better. Like I said, just seeing how the blurred image looks on top of the normal image. Another color gradient on top just to make the colors pop even more. And now the final product. It's very cool and very colorful, and I like it a lot. I also added that emboss filter like I said earlier, and I think it just adds that extra bit of crunch that I love. Sorry that I kind of lost my voice during the end of this video. I've been recording for quite a while, but thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good day, morning, night, whatever time it is when you're watching this, and just have a good time. Goodbye, and I'll see you guys later.